It was a quiet night in Amaudo village. The sky was dark and the air was cold. By the stream, a shadow moved. Someone was standing there, holding a bundle wrapped in a white cloth. The person's hands were shaking, and their breathing was heavy. The figure looked around, making sure no one was watching. Slowly, they threw the bundle into the stream. It splashed into the water and began to float away. The person stood there, staring at it, tears running down their face. "What have I done?" they whispered to themselves, their voice shaking. "What have I done?" Suddenly, a strange sound came from the bushes. It sounded like footsteps. The figure froze, their hearts racing. They turned quickly and ran into the darkness, disappearing into the night. Earlier that day, Amaudo was full of life. Children were running around, laughing and playing. Women sat by the stream, watching close and talking loudly. Men returned from their farms, carrying yams and the firewood. In the middle of the village, the Nneka family compound was busy. Everyone was celebrating Amaka, the youngest daughter of the family. Amaka had just won a scholarship to study in the city. She was only 17 years old, but she was already the pride of the family. "Amaka is so smart," Mama said as she cooked in the kitchen. "She will bring honor to this family." "You are right," Papa agreed. "She is the kind of daughter every parent dreams of." Amaka smiled shyly as the neighbors came to congratulate her. She was a kind and hardworking girl. She had a way of making everyone around her happy. But not everyone was happy. In the corner of the compound, Nneka, Amaka's elder sister, sat quietly, watching. Nneka was 20 years old. She was supposed to be the first daughter, the one everyone was proud of. But for as long as she could remember, Amaka was the one their parents loved the most. "Why can't you be like Amaka?" Mama often said to Nneka. "She's smart, respectful, and hardworking," Papa would add. "Amaka is our shining star. You should learn from her." No matter what Nneka did, it was never enough. Her parents always compared her to Amaka. Slowly, jealousy began to grow in Nneka's heart. She felt like a shadow, invisible in her home. That evening, the family threw a small party to celebrate Amaka. Neighbors brought gifts of yams, coconuts, and fruits. Mama had sewn a new blue dress for Amaka, and she looked beautiful in it. Everyone praised her. "Nneka," Mama called, "help your sister with her food." Nneka obeyed, carrying Amaka's food plate to her, but inside her heart burned with anger. She forced a smile as people praised Amaka over and over again. Later that night, Nneka sat alone in their room, staring at the wall. She could hear her parents in the other room still talking about how proud they were of Amaka. "Why is it always her?" Nneka thought. "Why don't they ever see me?" The next morning, the house was filled with excitement. Amaka was preparing to leave for the city. She packed her clothes into a wooden bus, humming a cheerful tune. "Sister, I'll miss you, Amaka said, smiling at Nneka. Don't worry, when I come back, I'll bring you something nice from the city. Nneka forced a smile. Thank you, she said quietly. That night, as the house fell silent, Nneka couldn't sleep. Her mind was filled with anger and jealousy. She thought about how everyone loved Amaka, how her parents never saw her. Her chest felt tight and her thoughts grew darker. She got up and went to the kitchen. There she picked up the heavy wounded pistol they used to pound yam. Her hands were shaking as she carried it back to their room. Amaka was fast asleep, her face peaceful in the moonlight. For a moment, Nneka froze. A small voice in her head told her to stop, but the jealousy was louder. Her hands tightened around the pistol. By morning, the Nwankwo compound was in chaos. Mama's loud cries woke the entire village. Amaka, Amaka, wake up, please, Amaka, wake up. Mama screamed, shaking their daughter, but Amaka didn't move. The neighbors rushed over, crowding outside the compound. They whispered to each other, shocked by what they had happened. This is not natural, one woman said. It must be the work of spirits, another added. Papa, his face pale and his hands trembling, called the village elders. They decided to consult the oracle to find out the truth. The oracle's words shocked everyone. This is not the work of the spirits, he said. The girl's life was taken by someone in her family. All eyes turned to Nneka. She stood frozen, her face pale. Her hands trembled as the villagers whispered around her. Mama's eyes filled with tears as she stared at her elder daughter. Nneka, she said softly, did you do this? Nneka shook her head quickly. No, Mama, I didn't, she cried. But her voice was weak and her guilt was clear. Days passed and the guilt became too much for Nneka to bear. She stopped eating and barely spoke to anyone. One night, unable to take it anymore, she took the pistol and walked to the stream. She planned to throw it into the water, hoping to erase the evidence of what she had done. As she stood there, staring at the rushing stream, she felt a presence behind her. Nneka, a voice said. She turned quickly and saw Mama standing there. Mama's eyes fell on the pistol in Nneka's hands, and her face crumbled with pain. Nneka, Mama whispered, her voice shaking. What have you done? Nneka fell to her knees, crying loudly. I didn't mean to, Mama, she sobbed. I just wanted you to love me like you loved her. I was tired of being invincible. Papa cherished her. No one talked about me in the family. It was as if I was not born by you both. You both neglect me so much. Everyone loved Amaka, and I was just so invincible in the house. Mama dropped to the ground beside her daughter, tears streaming down her face. Oh, Nneka, you didn't need to do this. We loved you, but we didn't show it well. Now we've lost both of you. Oh, Nneka, my daughter, what have you done? The next day, Nneka confessed to the elders. The villagers were horrified. The elders decided that Nneka must leave the village. She was banished and told never to return. As she walked away, Nneka looked back one last time. The compound was quiet, the mango tree swaying gently in the breeze. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she disappeared down the dusty path, carrying the heavy burden of ashes. Years later, whispers began to spread about a woman in a faraway village who helped others. She taught children and cared for the poor. Some said it was Nneka trying to make up for the terrible mistake of her past. Back in Amaudo, the Nneka family never recovered. Mama and Papa lived in silence, their hearts broken, and they later died in terrible pains. Amaka's story became a lesson for the village, a warning about jealousy and the pain of favoritism. It is not good to show love to one particular child. Although it is natural for some parents to love one above the other, but it is necessary not to show it to the other child that you love one more than the other. It can break the heart of a child and cause terrible pains to the child. Parents should learn from this and desist from that action. Always showing love to one particular child can cause a lot. I hope you have learned something from this story. Stay tuned for more stories and do not forget to subscribe after watching this story. Thank you for watching. Bye.